It's always hard to point out a specific team and say they won the draft, but when you look at what the Kansas City Chiefs just pulled off, they might have just ran away with the entire draft right before everybody's eyes. Before the draft started, we all saw the league buzz about Xavier Worthy running the fastest 40-yard dash in NFL history and how fast he was. He even met with the Chiefs during the combine and talked about how it would be his ideal dream situation to be drafted by the Chiefs. Well, the league at the time should have done what they could to make sure that didn't happen, because now you just gave Patrick Mahomes arguably the best quarterback already in NFL history, and you give him the fastest guy to ever come out the NFL draft. That's absurd. Not to mention all the other rookies they drafted to help out the O-line. The Chiefs took this draft to improve a few things, but what they really did is really improve this offense. The Chiefs post-Bucs Super Bowl have had a pretty solid O-line, but especially last season, we saw this O-line step up a ton to help protect Mahomes. Starting up front with center Creed Humphrey and guard Joe Thuney. Trey Smith as well had a huge part. We all know about Jawan Taylor and his flag situation. The thing about Jawan is that he's a really good player and a great pass blocker. He led the league in pass block win rate. He just needs to get his flag situation under control. Even though some may claim he was being targeted by the league, which I'm not going to disagree with, but the Chiefs not only led the league in drops, but also led the league in flags, which is something that needs to be taken care of. Touching on the fact that they led the league in drop passes, adding Xavier Worthy to this offense that already added a proven wide receiver in Hollywood Brown will just expand the ceiling for this whole entire receiver room, because now you have Worthy, Rasheed when he's able to play, and Hollywood Brown. That is a very quick receiving room that we haven't seen Mahomes with in some time now. We saw Mahomes with the Legion of Zoom with Sammy Watkins, Byron Pringle, Tyreek Hill, but this is a whole new age now. We saw the success the Chiefs have had with Tyreek Hill and how he thrived in this offense, and I fully expect Xavier to thrive in this offense just as well. He will be able to spread the floor so much for Mahomes, even opening up the field up a ton for Kelce. Last season, teams would double and triple team Kelce since the Chiefs receivers were not the most confident and consistently drop passes, so other teams did not necessarily need to focus on other receivers on the Chiefs. Now having three proven quick receivers, teams are going to have to completely change their defensive strategies when it comes to playing the Chiefs now, because it isn't an offense relying on Sky Moore and Justin Watson anymore. No knock on them. All three of the Chiefs' primary receivers now have proven they can compete at a high level and can all have 1,000-yard type of seasons. It's just exciting for Chiefs fans to be able to see Mahomes with solid receivers again, because the last few years without Tyreek, there have been moments questioning if Mahomes need receivers, but he has shown now back-to-back years that he doesn't need the best receiver or the top prospect. He just needs guys who are willing to put it all out there on the line to get the job done. That's why when Kingsley Summataia fell to the second round, Andy Reid was so nervous if anybody would snag him, because he's such a talented player. That's why they were able to trade up just one more spot to grab him. Kingsley is an offensive tackle that has given up 5 sacks in his whole entire career and only 2 since 2022. I mean, this guy is a beast, and he says he can play on both sides, either right or left tackle. He's ready to go out there and protect Mahomes. This is such a great signing, because the listed starter at the moment is Wanya Morris, who I say Kingsley could potentially go out there and have that starting spot already going into the first game of the season. The Chiefs also in the 4th round grabbed another O-lineman who was one for the trenches. They drafted Hunter Norzad, who started at left tackle for 20 games, center for 13, left guard for 7, and right guard for 1 game. So this is a guy who can literally play every position up front, which the Chiefs have been needing help with, potentially adding another guard as Joe Thuney is potentially nearing free agency. Regardless, the Chiefs picked up 2 key pieces that immediately raised the ceiling in the O-line room, improving it already a ton. Having Kingsley protect Mahomes' blindside would be ideal. Since 2022, he's only allowed 24 QB pressures on 701 pass blocking snaps, so being able to snag him in the 2nd round is almost as big as trading up to get Xavier Worthy in the 1st round. And that's what Brett Veach did for both of them, which makes it even more exciting for Chiefs fans, since the front office already sees something in them that made them want to trade up for the both of them. Almost everyone was wishing Xavier Worthy didn't fall to the Chiefs, so the fact that he did will be really fun to see what he does and how well he fits in the Andy Reid offensive scheme. The Chiefs decided to bet on speed, as a lot of people also thought they should have went ahead and drafted A.D. Mitchell, but like the Chiefs tend to do, they decided to bet on speed and draft Xavier Worthy. Brett Veach loves his fast guys. A.D. Mitchell also fell a lot further in the draft, going to the Colts in the 2nd round, so maybe there were some issues the public were unaware of, but nonetheless, I believe the Chiefs got the better receiver. Like Andy Reid even said, he's way more than just a speed guy. He's a good football player at the end of the day. He uses his speed to elevate his game. He will be able to get behind a lot of coverages. I'm just excited to see Mahomes having his deep ball back, since the last 2 seasons since we rarely got to see it. He now has 2 deep threats and one of the best receivers after the catch last season in Rashee Rice. I know he's going to miss some time, but you can't discredit Rashee for the situation he is in. Mahomes helped elevate him, but Rashee Rice is a great receiver and will be for some time in this league. The Chiefs made a ton of moves to prepare Mahomes for his new offense by adding receivers and helping the O-line, but this defense was the youngest in the league and arguably the best in the league, but they lost some key pieces like L'Jarius Sneed, Willie Gay, Mike Edwards, and some others. The Chiefs did need to focus on the small gaps they have in the defense now by primarily adding a safety and another cornerback to pair up with all-pro Trent McDuffie. The Chiefs went ahead in the 4th round and drafted Washington safety and former teammate of Jalen Watson, Jaden Hicks. He had 2.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and 2 picks last season and was Dane Brugler's top-ranked safety in this year's draft class. The Chiefs needed to fill in the spot at safety after Mike Edwards left after his 1-year deal, and signing Jaden Hicks was the best available option as he is a physical, athletic cornerback. This offense is really what turned itself around the most, though, from leading the league in drops and looking mediocre to having one of the best offenses in the league, and a top-tier O-line is scary, especially when you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. The Chiefs are doing everything they can to get back to the Super Bowl and be the first ever team to three-peat. They're making all the right moves to do so. Bringing in a guy like Hunter and Kingsley show that Brett Veach in the front office wants to make sure Mahomes has a young O-line that will develop and be able to protect him throughout his career, because just like any quarterback, they need a good O-line to be able to have time to make the plays that they need to, and especially how Mahomes plays, when he has a great O-line and receiving core together, it'll be a scary sight. They will still have Trey Smith up front as well, who had a good season with the Chiefs last year. Like I said, they're doing everything they can to win the Super Bowl again, but Brett Veach and Andy Reid really did a good job in this year's draft like they usually do. Brett Veach has consistently had a good eye for making the right picks for this team, so I fully believe in the picks he made this year. I feel really confident as well in the picks he traded up for, as Xavier and Kingsley instantly help improve this team. That's ideally what you want to happen in the draft. You want to bring in guys that instantly improve the roster, and that's what bringing in guys like this does. It's going to be exciting to see how they turn out in Kansas City. When Kingsley was asked about blocking for Mahomes, he joked and said nobody's going to touch him, and having that mindset is what you need in your young tackle. I also think it's so ironic that the Buffalo Bills were actually the team that traded with the Kansas City Chiefs in the 1st round. The Bills also needed a wide receiver, so it sometimes makes me think why they didn't just draft a receiver. They gave Kansas City the pick that potentially gives them their next Tyreek Hill, and that's one of their biggest rivals at this point. I mean, the rivalry is probably dead now. The Bills are in rebuild mode. They did need draft capital in this year's draft. I understand that, but they literally traded with the Chiefs again. The last time they traded with the Chiefs, we all know what happened. The Chiefs went, 27 to number 10 and drafted Patrick Mahomes, and now they traded again with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs used that pick again to draft another draft stud. So I'm very excited to see how Xavier Worthy turns out, especially since he came from Buffalo's pick. That just makes me even want him to succeed even more, but he has such a bright future ahead of him. Let me know what you think of the picks down below, but make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss when I upload a Chiefs video or any video at all.